Let's start with your football successes. Why don't you talk about how your football journey got started?
Um, well, I'd have to say, coming to Canada and learning about the process of football itself was kind of new to me. Growing up in Trinidad and watching it on TV, I didn't really get it necessarily at first. But, as I came up here and started to participate in different sporting events and, everything from football to basketball to volleyball, football I just kind of gravitated towards because, I felt like I was more of a commodity in it. And I had a lot of people talk to me about, possibly getting a free education by utilizing football. So, I just used what I had, natural talents, and really became a student of the game and tried to learn and understand as much as I could. And so I took that from high school and, took my skills and my talents and tried to really apply that as much as possible so that I could pursue an education. And just turned out that it was one of those things where I kind of fell into something that I really liked, enjoyed, happened to be good at, and was rewarded with a full athletic scholarship to Stanford University, where I played for 4 years, had a lot of success, a lot of fun, met a lot of great people, um, and parlayed that into an NFL opportunity with the Seattle Seahawks. So, going from this young kid in Trinidad and not knowing too much about football to playing under the bright lights of the NFL was something that I feel like I was extremely proud and happy with.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the training that's
Mhm.
involved in that you had to go through with football and to be successful and to get to Stanford, then eventually the NFL. What kind of training and hard work did you have to go through?
Man, a lot. I didn't really start working out until a few years into high school. Um, and one of my youngest brothers, Kershaw, his coach actually at the time kind of took me under his wing and brought me out to the gym. I would have my practice at school and then afterwards jump on the bus to go meet at Gold's Gym. And I remember the first time I went, I could barely just lift a bar, on the bench press. And uh, to go from that to just really, he just kind of laid the process out for me. He said, we're going to start with this. Each week we're going to go up and we're going to work on a different body part, and then we're going to show you how that transfers to on the field. So, I felt like when in anything in life that you're going after, you have to make some sacrifices. So, at that point, while all the other kids were kind of out having fun and doing different things, like I decided to dedicate myself to my schoolwork and my athletics because it could give me something better in the future. So, I went in there and it was 5 days a week, 5 days a week of work, and then the games on the weekends. During the school year, it was games during the week. In the summer times, it was games on the weekend, and it just became like an all year thing. I started looking at what the kids in the U.S. were doing, and I mean that they had training programs, they had all these different things that were already in place. Felt like I was kind of behind the eight ball a little bit in Canada because it wasn't the same emphasis, it wasn't the same culture. But I felt like if I was able to kind of emulate that somehow and just put in the effort and the time and the training and you know the academic part of it for me was a huge aspect of it too because as you go up in levels in football, you move from high school to college. The athletic level isn't uh, as big, like in terms of the difference between athletes, but
Yes.
that mental aspect and what you'll do to succeed and the focus and the commitment and the sacrifice, that's, I think, what really determines the difference between the two guys. So,
Mhm.
at any point, it could be two athletes that are of, similar height, weight, speed, but their mindset is what really is going to determine their success. So that's a big part of what I focused on and what a lot of my teachers and coaches and everyone has really stressed to me is that mental strength. And as much as I put on weight and lifted and ran, the mental aspect of it has always been the biggest part for me.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what you're doing right now currently?
Yeah, so I think I wanted to get into something where I felt like I can use a lot of the skills that I've developed over the years. And, I feel like I have my master's in sports. And, over the last few years, I got into the technology world a little bit. Got together with um, a few friends, ex-teammates and whatnot, and we were able to put together a group and go and acquire a software development company called Viva Vision. So for a couple off seasons, I actually just went in and helped work with the company, kind of found my way, found something that I liked in there. Turned out marketing is kind of what I gravitated towards, so marketing and business development, and just jumped in and learned as much as I could about that world. You know, learned about the industry, learned about my place in it, how I could actually add value to the company. And then, you know, over the last few months, we've been developing our own kind of strategy, and so we feel like we're at that intersection of sports and technology, and we know that in there we can kind of connect the two. You know, we formed a separate little company called Carter.mpg, and it is about that. It is about connecting those two worlds and actually helping guys, you know, get over that hurdle of, you know, the transition, because there is a lot of, you know, there's a lot of emotion involved in there. There's go through depression. It's like suffering a loss of identity and all these things. So in seeing that, we wanted to find a way to combat that, and so that's kind of how Jump It was formed. And so from that, we're able to, you know, now look at the technology side of it and how can we put together some form of technology that can help that process, that can help, you know, the guys that we've come up with over all these years. And right now, you know, we're doing a couple different things in the consulting world, bringing in a couple new products from, you know, another country into the U.S., into this sports market, and then we're actually helping to reach back and help some of our friends in terms of connecting with other businesses that are looking to enhance their brand by utilizing some of these, what we've termed high-profile influencers.